Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sandittikang nibbānang hoti akalikang ehipasikang Upanayikang pachatang veditabang vinyuhiti. Nibbāna is apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation, leading inwards to be experienced individually by the wise. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Clear Mountain Monastery Wednesday evening Dhamma talk and reflections. This week with our Discord group, Clear Mountain Discord group. Starting this month, we've begun reading the 6th chapter of Buddha Dhamma by P.A. Payutto called Nibbāna, the Supreme Peace, I believe. And in celebration of that, I thought I'd start with just reading a list of 155 names for Nibbāna. So the video for this won't be that exciting, but I think the audio is very, very special and really useful. So the list that this comes from does not occur as such in full in the Pāli canon, but it was compiled from different sources within the four main Nikāyas, so the middle length discourses, connected discourses, numerical discourses, and the long discourses by a monk named Ñāṇatusita, for a newsletter for the Buddhist Publication Society, I believe in 2014 or something like that, maybe could have been 2006. Actually, I think it was 2006. But this is something which various monks have tried before. Ajahn Amaro and Ajahn Hasapanyo did a really good job of this in the book The Island, which was co-authored by Ajahn Pasano and Ajahn Amaro. And in that, within the first chapter, Ajahn Amaro lays out a list of a fair number, could have been upwards of 100 different synonyms for Nibbāna. But this list by Ñāṇatusita, which you can find a link for in the notes on YouTube, is the most comprehensive list that I know of. He feels that it's comprehensive. So yeah, what he in that document linked to, he breaks it down into different categories because they're not all coming from one place. So he basically gives it 11 different facets. To simplify things, I've kind of consolidated those 11 different aspects into 6 for a bit ease of memory. Those being the aspects of Nibbāna which show it as being the highest peace, the aspects of Nibbāna which show its highest happiness aspect, the aspects of Nibbāna as highest freedom, the aspects of Nibbāna as highest purity, the aspects of Nibbāna as highest truth, and the aspects of Nibbāna simply as the highest. So before going into that, thought I would just explain. So that introductory verse, which I chanted, many of you might be familiar with a variant, which is chanted usually at least twice a day in probably most every monastery around the world, certainly in Buddhist countries. The traditional words are talking about the Dhamma. The Dhamma is well expounded, apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation, leading inwards to be experienced individually by the wise. But in this particular sutta, the Buddha uses 5 out of 6 of those words, starting with apparent here and now, as actually epithets or descriptors of Nibbāna. So I'm just going to read these different names for Nibbāna. And as we do this, I think it will be useful to try to get into a peaceful state of mind. So just bringing the mind to some state of stillness and equipoise. And this whole recollection is what the Buddha called upasamanussati, which is recollection of upasama, or peace, which the Buddha defined as, is basically talking about Nibbāna. So it's a meditation practice, and it's not just a meditation practice for stream enterers, once returners, non-returners, and arhats. So basically people who are already enlightened to some degree. It's a meditation which the Buddha advised for any and all of us who are inclined and might be interested in experimenting with it. So we can hear these different names for Nibbāna, these different qualities, and see how they might mirror in our own experience. See if you can touch or see a shade of these different descriptors, and then use that as inspiration, both to calm the mind and bring the mind to a state of balance in the present moment, and use it as inspiration in terms of this is what we're headed towards. The Buddha, although Nibbāna is in one sense indescribable, the Buddha, as we'll see, used many words to give hints or some aspect of the this goal of a spiritual life, this goal of Buddhist practice. So with that, we'll just start reading the different qualities, and people can just try to make the heart still and see if you can find resonance in your own heart for these qualities. And people can, of course, we will likely finish before 6:15 or 6:35, so people can put questions if you have any in the chat, and we'll likely get to those. So the first qualities are those which have to do with Nibbāna as highest peace. And I'll read the Pāli followed by the English. Upasama, the stillness, the calm. Parama Santi, the ultimate peace. Anuttara Santi Varapada, the unexcelled state of sublime peace. Sabba Sankara Samatha, the calming of all conditions. Anarambha, the exertionless. Passaddhi, the serene, the tranquil. Viveka, paviveka, the solitude, the seclusion. Asambadha, the uncrowded. Asapada, that which is without rivalry. Nirupatapa, the untroubled, or that which is without vexation. Akalita, the faultless. Amata, the deathless, where there is no death. Ajara, the agingless, where there is no aging. Ajara Maranapada, the state without aging and death. Asankupa, the unshakable. Asanghira, the indestructible, the immovable. Dhuva, that which is constant, that which is stable. Akampita, that which does not tremble. Achala Sukha, the unshakable happiness. Achyuta, that which does not pass away. Apalokita, that which does not disintegrate. Anatta, the uninclined. Nipapancha, that which is without proliferation. Chutu papato nahoti, where there is no passing away and reappearing. Nang hitang na chutang na upapating, where there is no staying, no passing away, no reappearing. Agati gati nahoti, where there is no coming and going. Yata na jati, na jiyati, na miyati, na chavati, na upapajati, where one is not born, does not age, nor die, nor pass away, nor arise. Nibbāna as highest peace, highest happiness. Paramasukha, the ultimate happiness. Nibbāna sukha paramang parang nati. There is nothing else like the happiness of Nibbāna. Susukha, the great happiness. Anuttara vimutti sukha, the supreme peace of release. Samabhumi bhaga ramaniya, the delightful stretch of level ground. Anitika, the unailing. Avyadi, the diseaseless. Arogya, the healthy, the freedom from disease. Pipasa vinaya, the dispelling of thirst. Paramanghita, the ultimate welfare. Avyapaja, the freedom from harm. Dukkhasa anta, the end of suffering. Dukkha-nirodha, the cessation of suffering. Yata dukkhang nirujjati, where suffering ceases. Dukkha-kaya, the destruction of suffering. Asoka, the sorrowless. Varinikepana, the putting down of the burden. Nibbāna, the extinguishing, the quenching. Nibbāna. Nibbuti, the quenching, the allaying. Siddhi bhava, the state of coolness. Ajalita, that which does not burn. Kaya sabedha uddhang jivita pariyadhanang idheva sabbaveda yitani anabhinaditani siti pavissanti sarirani avasissanti. At the breaking up of the body, following the exhaustion of life, all that is felt, not being delighted in, will become cool right here. Only the physical remains will be left. Nibbāna as the highest freedom. Mutti, the freedom. Analaya, that which is not reliant. Vimutti, the release, the deliverance. Vimokha, the release, deliverance. Sabbaganta pamochana, the freedom from all bounds. Sabbasanyojanakaya, the destruction of all fetters. Sabbupadi patinissaga, the relinquishment of all acquisitions. Sabba uppadi sankhaya, the annihilation of all acquisitions. Kema, the secure. Anuttara Yoga Kema, the unexcelled security from bondage. Sarana, the refuge. Nissarana, the escape. Pāna, the shelter, the protection. Abhaya, that which is free from fear. Akuto bhaya, that which has no fear from anywhere. Deepa, the island. Lena, the shelter. Titta, the landing place, the harbor. Parimang tirang kemang appanibbayang, the further shore, safe and free from danger. Nibbāna, the way out, the deliverance. Nibbāna as highest purity. Suddhi, visuddhi, purity. Susukha sukha, the very pure, the very bright. Asankilinha, the undefiled. Viraga, the fading away, that which is without desire. Viraja, the stainless, the dustless. Anasava, the taintless. Asava kaya, the destruction of taints. Nekama, the renunciation, the freedom from desire. Nirodha, the cessation. Lokanta, the end of the world. Lokanirodha, the cessation of the world. Bhavanirodha, the cessation of existence. Yam hinirujhanti bhavani sabbaso, when existences completely cease. Jivitasya sankhaya anyo puna bhavo nati, at the annihilation of life, there is no other further existence. Natidani puna bhavo, now there is no further existence. Vanupacheda, the cutting off of the round of rebirth. Sabbakama kaya, the destruction of all kama. Jati maranassa anta, the end of birth and death. Jara matju parikaya, the complete destruction of old age and death. Jate kaya, the destruction of birth. Vikino jati sangsaro, the journeying on in births is annihilated. Sangsara vina ikata sabbhaganti samucchinna, the journeying on has been demolished. All destinations have been cut off. Kaya, the destruction. Sakaya nirodha, the cessation of identity. Aharanam nirodha, the cessation of nutriments, the cessation of food. Vijnana nirodha, the cessation of consciousness. Abedhi kayo nirodhi sanya vedana sitir ahangsu sabha vu pasamingsu sankara vinyanang attang agama. The body breaks up, perception ceases, all feelings become cold, mental activities become still, consciousness comes to an end. Nanye dhamme bhavisanti, when there will be no other phenomena. Vosana, the finish. Raga dosa moha kaya, the destruction of lust, anger, and delusion. Tanha kaya, the destruction of craving. Tanha sankaya, the annihilation of craving. Tanhaya asesa viraga nirodho chago patinisago mutti analayo. The remainderless fading and cessation, renunciation, relinquishment, and release and letting go. Upadana sankaya, the annihilation of attachment. Nibbāna as highest truth. Satya, the truth. Amosa dhamma, that which doesn't have a false nature. Asammoha, that which is free from delusion. Ajata, the unborn, where there is no birth. Asamuppanna, the unarisen. Abhuta, the unbecome. Akata, the unmade. Asankata, the unconditioned, the uncompounded. Yasanati upama kvachi, that for which there is no likeness. Natena dhammena samati kinchi, that for which there is nothing equal. Apani bhaga, that which is without counterpart. Apani sarana, that which is without recourse. Disa agata pubbha, the direction never gone before. Para, the far shore. Machudeya parang, the far shore of the realm of death. Agati yatta marasa, where Mara has no access. Anapara, the matchless. Anidasana, the unmanifest, the unseen. Appamana, that which is measureless. Patisotagami, that which is going against the stream. Aputtujanasevita, that to which worldlings do not resort. Appatinha, that which is without support. Appavatta, that which is without continuation. Anaramana, that which is without basis. Atakavachara, that which is not within the range of thought. Sabbesu dhammesu sumuhatesu, when all phenomenon have been removed. Neva idha va huram va ubayang anantarena, where there is no here, nor beyond, nor in between. Tadayatanang yatta neva patavi, na apo, na tejo, na vayo, na akansanchayatanang, na vinyanayan chatanang, na kinchanyayatanang, na neva sanya na sanyayatanang, nayang loko, na paraloko, na ubbo chandi masurya. That sphere where there is no earth, no water, no fire, no wind. no sphere of endless space, nor the sphere of endless consciousness, nor the sphere of nothingness, nor the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception, nor this world nor the other world, neither sun nor moon. Nibbāna as the highest. Agga, the highest. Parama, the ultimate. Panita, the sublime. Anuttara, the unexcelled. Uttama, the supreme. Vara, the excellent. Uttama Atta, the supreme goal. Parayana, the destination, the far shore. Attang Mahantang Gambhirang Dudasang Nipunang Anung, the goal that is great, profound, hard to see, subtle, fine. Susukama Nipunata, the goal which is very fine and subtle. Achantaninha, the absolute conclusion. Achanta Pariyosana, the absolute end. Brahmacharya Pariyosana, the end of the holy life. Acharya, the wonderful. Abhuta, the amazing. Siva, the auspicious. Sududasa, dudaso, that which is very hard to see. Duranubodho, that which is hard to understand. Nipuna, that which is subtle. Anu, that which is fine, that which is minute. Sukhuma, that which is delicate, that which is fine. Gambhira, that which is profound. Pandita Vedaniya, that which can be experienced by the wise. Ragarata Nadakiniti Tamo Kandhena Avana, that which is not discerned by those delighting in lust, wrapped in the darkness of ignorance. So those are the 155 epithets for the Buddha found by Bhante Ñāṇatusita. And yeah, just a wonderful list and a wonderful reflection. Yeah, whether you listen to my voice or you read the list yourself in its entirety, or just focusing on really any of those characteristics which piques your interest and really calls to you and inspires you, then spend time with that quality. Let it really come into the heart and incline in that direction towards Nibbāna. So with that, open things up to questions. If anyone has any questions. Yes, so many really unique words there. A lot to reflect on. So in a different essay, this is in an essay called The Names for Nibbāna, Thanissaro Bhikkhu, or Ajahn Jeff, gives what he calls 5 facets of Nibbāna. So he doesn't do as exhaustive of a list, but yeah, he basically suggests that these the names fall into 5 main groups conveying 5 different facets of that dimension. The first one he singles out is non-extinction, or that non-extinction, or that Nibbāna is not a blank out. The second quality is Nibbāna is the highest truth, or Nibbāna is truth. The third is Nibbāna as freedom. The fourth is Nibbāna as happiness or bliss. And the fifth is the facet of excellence. So one question is, where did the first quote, the epithet of Nibbāna being similar to Nibbāna, to the Dhamma, come from? So that is a quote from a short sutta in the Anguttara Nikāya 3's, verse number 56. And there's a Brahmin who comes to the Buddha and he says, apparent here and now, apparent here and now. In what way is Nibbāna apparent here and now? And then the Buddha goes on to say that when someone knows that there is greed and one abandons that, then in that way, Nibbāna is apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation, leading inwards to be experienced individually by the wise. When there's no more anger, and when there's no more ignorance, in that way, one knows that, that is a manifestation of Nibbāna, that's something which is apparent here and now, timeless, leading inwards. And the Buddha says, in this way, Nibbāna is apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation, leading inwards to be experienced individually by the wise. So yeah, very beautiful and thought-provoking, and hopefully practice inspiring quote as well. So this question, is Nibbāna a type of state of mind? So yeah, a very good question. In the theravada understanding of things, Nibbāna is a type of consciousness. So I'll just actually read from that essay, The Names for Nibbāna by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. He talks about this point. So he says, the first facet of Nibbāna is that it's not a blank out. Instead, it's a type of consciousness, but unlike ordinary consciousness, it's not known through the 6 senses, that is the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, or mind. And it doesn't, it's not known through the mind. So it's a type of consciousness, but not known through the 6 senses. And it doesn't engage in fabricating or creating any experience at all. Unlike, for example, the non-dual, this is Ajahn Jeff's, the non-dual consciousness found in formless levels of concentration. The Buddha described this consciousness as without surface and unestablished. His image for it is a beam of light that lands nowhere. Although bright in and of itself, it doesn't engage in anything and so can't be detected by anyone else. So I hope that's answers your question. Probably only partially. For a full answer, we should experience and practice towards Nibbāna ourselves. So Ajahn Kovilo, should we contemplate these different words as a map pointing away? You can do it that way. You can contemplate them. So hopefully so many of them are just leading away from thought. I mean, one of the words that we went into is that which cannot be thought about. But we can use these different words as skillful means in the definition, or when the Buddha gives more elaboration on this, upassamanusati, the recollection of stillness, the recollection of calm, the recollection of Nibbāna. He gives a quote. This is etang santang etang panitang etang sabba upadi patinisaga. So this is refined. This is peaceful. This is refined, namely the stilling of all underlying inclinations or underlying upadi, basically underlying defilements. And yeah, in that description, it's laid out. The Visuddhimagga has a whole chapter on it, in the 3rd chapter on meditation topics, and gives a way of actually contemplating the different words. But what I find to be more useful is actually if you can come to a peaceful place in your meditation. So actually maybe doing some tranquility or calming meditation first, and then introducing or dropping, as if taking a water dropper and just dropping one of these words into the mind, and then just letting it reverberate there in the heart. And specifically, if you can, staying embodied as you let any of these particular qualities of Nibbāna just resonate in the heart. So that's one way you can do it. If you can, some people are more familiar with a method of meditation called Cittanupassana, or the frame of reference, which is knowing the mind in and of itself. This is the 3rd frame of reference, or the 3rd foundation of mindfulness, knowing the mind in and of itself, ardent, alert, and mindful. Ardent, alert, and mindful, putting aside greed and stress with respect to the world. So if you can do that, and that's a method of meditation which is taught and talked about a lot by Ajahn Sumedho, by Ajahn Brahmo in Thailand, and by, to some extent, by Advaita teachers, basically a non-dual Advaita. I wouldn't necessarily equate that 100% with the 3rd foundation of mindfulness, but basically just knowing the mind in and of itself. This is what the Thai call puru, just staying with that, being the knowing. So if you can do that, if you can come back to this more subjective-based meditation where you are not paying attention to objects, but paying attention more to the subject, where consciousness is coming from, and then bring any of these words into that space, then that can be especially helpful as well. So another question, when we have fragments of peace, tranquility, and happiness of the heart, joy, would that be a window of a mini Nibbāna experience? So in the Pāli canon, Nibbāna is usually restricted to meaning this transcendent state, basically the goal of the path. That's how it's framed in the Pāli canon. There is one instance in the Dhammapada, maybe verse 223 or something like that, where the Buddha says, if you can silence yourself, it's coming right after a verse where the Buddha talks about the importance of not responding in kind to aversive or mean or angry words. So if you can just silence yourself, this verse says, if you can silence yourself like a cracked gong, then you are experiencing a state which is like Nibbāna in the present moment, to that effect. So that is a different type of Nibbāna. You can think of that as a lowercase in Nibbāna. The Buddha uses that in that particular instance, but I don't know of any other situations where the Buddha uses Nibbāna as a more mundane state. But yeah, you can think of tranquility, happiness, and heart as perhaps indicating like the flavor of Nibbāna. The Buddha said that all of his teachings have the same flavor, that's the flavor of release, of vimutti or mutti, just as the great ocean, all the water in the great ocean has the same flavor, namely that of salt. So yeah, I don't know if I would want to call them mini Nibbāna experiences, just with the fear that might trivialize Nibbāna. But if it does lead you in that direction towards, of course, tranquility, peace, happiness, these are all aspects of the path which we're cultivating. But are they Nibbāna? The ones that we experience on a daily basis? I don't think that would be a traditional Theravada understanding of things. One neat simile is the Buddha's giving different metaphors relating to the ocean. That same sutta that I just referenced. And he says that just as the ocean gradually slopes, and then there are different translations for this, but Tanisaro Bhikkhu says, just as the ocean, as you're like gradually slopes, the bottom of the ocean gradually slopes, and then there's a continental shelf, so basically deeper, 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 and then there's boom, you're going way, way deep. So too are the enlightenment experiences, the stream entry, non-return, once return, and arahantship. So you could think of it like that. Like we're cultivating, hopefully in our daily lives, in all of our interactions, in all of our meditations, cultivating some level of peace, tranquility, happiness, joy. We can carry around these with us all the time at some level. This might be the grade of the ocean going deeper and deeper, but then at some point there's going to be this continental shelf where there's a distinct, almost, whole other level of things. So great question. So this is remarking that these lists they read like a joyful vocabulary list. Thank you so much. This is great. There are thesaurus that function and talk about different pleasant mental states or unpleasant mental states specifically. So this is maybe one for joyful mental states. That's a good point. If one knew Nibbāna, say post-stream entry, would one say, I know Nibbāna, or believe I know Nibbāna? Or would that be a sort of subtle ignorance identifying with Dhamma? So when you have statements from arahants, and even, I believe in stream entry, it's not framed usually with the first person I, the first person pronoun. It's just birth has been destroyed. There's no more coming into any state of being. Done is what has had to be done. So it's framed in this passive voice without a subject, which I think is a really skillful allusion to the state that when, by definition, what Nibbāna is realizing the truth of anatta, or not self. So one would know that birth has been destroyed, or that what is of the nature to arise is of the nature to cease. That has been fully known. That's a statement which is made by or understood by stream enterers. But there wouldn't be this I, and certainly with full arahantship or full enlightenment, there wouldn't be any identifying with Nibbāna. Good question. Okay, I really like the idea of being off Mara's radar. That's a good way to put it. So these are places which Mara can't touch. Mara can't find someone who's attained Nibbāna. So I like that method, dropping names for Nibbāna into the still meditation state. I look forward to doing that, using that link. Great, wonderful, wonderful. Can someone reach Nibbāna without high levels of sense restraint, like celibacy? One can reach stream entry, non-return, once return and non-return without celibacy. But it's the theravada point of view that to reach full enlightenment, one has to be celibate. Or another way of saying it is that an arahant, a fully enlightened person, just has no more sexual desire. So it's just natural celibacy, basically. And in terms of sense restraint, that's definitely a requisite condition for any stage of awakening. And celibacy just being one aspect of sense restraint. But yeah, that's, you can think of it as a noble treasure, your sense restraint. So protecting it is really important. All right, well, I think that's, we've come to the end, 6:45, and we can move over to our Zoom room now. I'll put the link in the chat. And this is just an opportunity for us to have a more engaged conversation. And it's a really wonderful community that comes together on Zoom. So those who can make it, please come on out, and no need to be shy. We usually have new people coming every week. So look forward to seeing people there. And this Saturday, actually, Ajahn Nisabo will be away. So I'll be zooming in to this Saturday's St. Mark's event, but it will still be happening in person. I believe Steve Wilhelm will be holding space, and then I'll zoom in for a Dhamma talk, and everyone can just meditate together and I believe have a meal as well. There's still going to be a potluck, but you should maybe bring more food if you are so inclined. Just other people might not be there as well. So we'll be here next week. Ajahn Nisabo and I will have a conversation, and hope everyone has a good night. So take care.